We're going to talk a little Cavs. Yesterday, Adrian Wojnarowski, Woj of ESPN, tweeted out that the Cavs have officially started their head coaching interview process. It'll start with Kenny Atkinson and James Borrego, two guys we have mentioned numerous times who would get heavy consideration for the job. On the Ultimate Cavs show yesterday, Jason and I were talking about what qualities we want to see most in a head coach. And Jason brought up the point, something I hadn't considered, that this timeline to hire a new coach could take a lot longer than at least I had initially thought. The Cavs don't seem to be in any rush to make a hire. And Jason, you made it seem that it could take beyond the draft and free agency before we see the Cavs make an official move on a head coach. Well, I know yesterday we talked about it, but
yesterday, did you have the Redick news already by the time you guys were on last night?
It's still not official.
I mean, Borrego's back for a second interview, so it's not a done deal. It probably will end up being
with the Lakers?
Yeah. Borrego's back in LA for a second interview with the Lakers.
And the only other team with a coach opening is Washington. Which
they hired.
They already
filled
it.
Oh, they did?
They promoted the guy they had.
Oh, you said they were going to do that. I didn't realize that was a done deal.
That happened yesterday.
So basically, if the Cavs are the only team looking for a coach, what's the rush?
Well, that's the thing. And, really, I hadn't even thought of it. Kobe's the one that said it at his end-of-season availability. He said it would be a little aggressive. He said we'd love to have a coach in place by the draft, but even that might be a little aggressive because I think they're looking exactly at the same thing. Even if they take Borrego, even if the Lakers hire Borrego, who is one of the Cavs' top candidates, what's been told to me is Atkinson is their number one right now. That can change. But right now, Atkinson is their number one, and they've got a bunch of other guys they want to talk to, and we know the list.
Yeah.
But what you don't want to – I think they – so if Kobe's saying that the draft is aggressive, well, the draft is June 26th. Free agency starts a few days after that.
Right.
So what I read into that is what they don't want is they don't want a repeat of 2014 when they hired David Blatt and then LeBron comes back and now you have a coach that doesn't match the team.
Right.
So by waiting, you get a decision out of Donovan. If you're waiting until June 26th, you might as well wait through free agency, get the commitment from Donovan, and then you know which direction you're going with the coach. If you have to trade Donovan, it could change who the coach is going to be.
What is the timeline with Donovan in terms?
Early July. It'll be early July.
So he's either going to sign early July or he's not going to sign.
Correct.
Okay, so that makes total sense because
there's no rush.
If you have to trade Donovan, then you're kind of starting over.
I don't think you're starting over.
Okay, maybe that's too aggressive.
You're not starting over, but
you're stepping back a little.
Well, not even that necessarily. It depends. There's so many moving pieces to this summer. But ultimately, for me, what it comes down to is if Donovan comes back, one of the things you're telling him is, who do you want the coach? Who do you want as the coach? And that could influence who they hire. But and again, all indications to this point are he's going to re-sign. Donovan's going to re-sign.
Right.
But until there's pen on paper, you don't know that for sure. And it's not like there's 5 teams out there right now racing to get a coach.
Right.
You're bidding against yourself at this point.
Yeah.
So
there is no rush. Situation.
Yeah, there is no rush.
Don't you think though that your other moves, whether it's mostly with the Cavs, it's got to be trades because you're potentially going to trade either Darius or Donovan, and then
Kobe's insisting they're bringing everybody back.
Well, what he says doesn't matter.
I know, but we still have to this is what he said is he wants to bring them all back. Okay. I don't necessarily believe that's how it's going to unfold.
Yeah.
But that's what he's saying right now. So
that's the baseline. Why would he? I mean, he has no incentive to tell the truth.
Correct, and you don't want to erode your own leverage.
Right.
But he has been fairly honest in these settings in the past where he said he was going to bring it back, and he did, and we thought maybe they should make changes, and he brought it back. So I'm just establishing a baseline.
Okay.
This is what they're saying.
They're stupid if they bring it back, in my opinion.
I don't think they're stupid, but I think it depends on what's out there. And is what is out there going to make you significantly better? I think it's a fair debate to have. I think it's worth exploring for sure. And I know you guys talked about Brandon Ingram the other day, and we
what's your
mentioned
take on him? Because Mike's doesn't like him.
He's good, not great. There's a ton of injuries.
Yeah.
I think he's a pretty good player when he's on the court. It's just a matter of which 65 games are you going to get out of him. If you can get some of the injuries out of the way in December and January, and he's healthy for the playoffs, he's pretty good. I'll take him. But
he's better than Darius Garland.
But here's the thing. Here's what I said to Mike. Brandon Ingram's been in New Orleans for 5 years now. And if New Orleans looks at him and says, we don't want to give him $200 million, that should be a massive red flag to you. Why? If they've had this guy in the building every day for 5 years,
fair,
and they say, we are not comfortable investing $200 million into this guy, you should think long and hard as to why.
Yeah, but the guy you're trading is a guy that if you had to do it over again, you might not pay him either.
These are all flawed players that we're talking about.
Yes, right.
Brandon Ingram, Darius Garland, they're good, not great. But this is the aisle that you're shopping in because wings are the most coveted position in the league.
Right.
And so any team that makes a guy available, there's going to be something wrong with them because the ones that teams love are the ones that they hold on to and don't ever let go, and they pay them all the money. So you're trading defective for defective in a sense.
Yeah.
And, I think I'm a little bit higher than Mike is on a Donovan, Brandon Ingram, Evan Mobley pairing. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it's better than what they've got currently right now.
Sure.
But again, there's the Jared Allen piece that's floating around, and so this is like a Rubik's Cube summer for the Cavs.
Yeah.
And you're trying to
gotta
get all
get it
the
right.
colors to line up on all the different sides.
Earl, do you trust Koby Altman to get it right with this? Because it's a lot. You have faith?
I don't know. Shout out to you, though, because you gave me a lot of information Sunday. Like, everything that he said, he kind of told me Sunday about, the timeline.
Right.
And as far as Kobe running it back with the same four. I'll say this. I'm not in favor of a retread coach, personally. I felt like that if you were going to go that route, you could have fired JB last year when a crop of coaches that was available were better than the candidates that's available now. And I kind of want somebody that's going to be given a fresh opportunity to show what to show what he or she can do. And I'm kind of have locked in on Chris Quinn personally. He's been with Eric Spoelstra in Miami for 10 years. Their top assistant. He's great with player development. He's great with superstar players. He's already gotten a ringing endorsement from a guy like Udonis Haslem. A guy that can develop not just Evan Mobley, but I think can get more out of a guy like Craig Porter Jr., can get more out of Imani Bates because he's going to be here. So for me, I want just the next best thing, next up-and-coming, assistant head coach in the rankings. I don't know much. Yeah. I can't go back and think about Brooklyn before KD and Kyrie got there and how successful they were. I do know that, Kyrie and KD had an issue with him, and I'm not saying because they did, that's the end-all, be-all. But you got a superstar player here. Yeah. Do you want a guy that doesn't necessarily have the best relationship with star players because you can be in a situation to where it can all blow up in your face?
Now, you could argue Kyrie and Kevin Durant are two of the biggest pains in the ass in the league in terms of superstars.
Fair?
Kyrie was at that time. I think he's grown up a lot.
Okay.
I do think he's grown up
It does seem like, when I've heard him talk recently, he sounds a little different.
Yeah.
It's enough with some of the nonsense he talks about sometimes.
Yeah, I think
the basketball
I
right
think
now.
he's matured quite a bit. But I think it's worth pointing out again. If Donovan comes back, I think whatever coach they have in place will have some sort of Donovan endorsement, blessing, whatever. So if it is Kenny,
Donovan's going to give the okay. Yeah.
To some extent.
All right, before we go to the next Cavs topic, Jason, rapid fire. You ready?
Okay.
Percentage chance.
Oh boy.
That Donovan Mitchell is on the team next year.
92.
Darius Garland.
50.
Jared Allen.
50.
And percentage chance that Imani Bates plays real minutes next year.
10.
10% chance?
Yeah. Which is higher than last year, which would have been
surprised.
0. Last year was a 0.
I thought you were going to say 0 again.
No, I'll give him 10. He's got a year
10%.
under his belt now.
Mikey.
All right, we'll do one read. We got one more Cavs topic, then we'll bounce back to the Browns. If you're looking